Welcome to this week's lesson segment on Weekly Outdoor Plus, brought to you by Barbershop, 2400 Church Street, Stevens Point, where they have the most wide variety of vacuums, sewing machines, and parts you can need, and great service to go along with it. So get your notebooks and pencils out, because it's time for your lesson segment with myself, Jase Hintz, and Weekly Outdoor Plus. This week I'm going to be talking to you guys about your arrow selection when you're picking out the correct hunting arrow, target arrow, depending what you're doing with your bow. I mean, fun arrow, anything, carp arrow, it don't matter. We're going to be talking about the difference between our arrow selections, not too much in company-wise, but what the difference between each arrow is, because from company to company, they all measure their stuff in the exact same setup, and they all, believe in the same idea of the most consistent arrow possible for the price. My favorite example, easiest line to talk about, would be Carbon Express, because most companies will go around what they do, and I mean, they all go hand in hand with each other. They have a lot of different setups. They're mostly measured by the thickness of the wall, which is going to be the 150, the 250, the 350, or the 450. The difference in that is when you flex your carbon arrow, how much it's going to flex or not flex, basically. And the difference in that is how much you're going to be shooting for poundage. If you're 50 and under, you're going to be shooting a 150 arrow. If you're up to 60 pounds, probably a 250. 70, you're going to be about a 350, and anything higher, you're definitely going to be at a 450. The difference in that is going to be how your arrow will flex when coming out of your shot, and you want your arrow to bend, but not too much. It has to have the perfect spine for your bow. You can affect this spine in many different ways. It's going to be, having a 100 grain tip in the front, 125, 85 grain tip in the front. All of that's going to make a difference in how much the flexibility of your arrow is. The other major difference also is going to be how long you cut your arrow. So your draw length, will make a big difference. If you're shooting a really long draw length, we might tell you to go, so you're at 60 pounds, you might need a 350 though, because you're shooting, 29, 30 inch draw, 32 inch draw. You're going to need a little stiffer arrow because you're not cutting it at all. And the weight in the front, a lot more flexibility it'll be having. There's a lot of difference also in the thickness of your arrow. This doesn't really affect the hunters too much. A little bit will be, mostly for shooting 3D archery, spots archery. Differences, if you're going big game hunting and you want a little bigger hole going through it, I guess you could go with a bigger shaft as well. Those are going to be like their CXL Pros. You could go spots arrows, maybe they're full bores, something along that lines. But these are arrows that I'm talking are half-inch across. They're pretty thick arrows, and they have the same spine on the wall, but they're just a bigger round arrow, so you can catch those lines when you're shooting in tournaments. And you put a bigger hole in the animal when you're shooting through them as well. Another thing they also have for the people that like to shoot long range outdoors, especially for fun, they have like Nano Pros or different setups along that line where they're extremely skinny. They'll fit inside of your average hunting arrow and with no problem, won't even touch the walls. They're so skinny. And these, again, you can get any spine in them that you're looking for. Just it depends how much flex you need for your setup, how much weight you're shooting, how long they're cut, how much weight you got in the front. It's all going to be different a little tiny bit. The easiest way I can tell you to go about this is either one, depending on what your weight shooting, if you just want to ballpark it, again, 150s, you're going to shoot up to about 50 pounds. 60 pounds, you're going to want a 250. 70 pounds, 350, and anything above that, a 450. That's going to be your rough guidelines. If you want to get it exact, you need to stop into the Bucks and Bulls Archery shop. And my dad, Gary Hintz, has a setup on his computer called Archer's Advantage. And he'll set up your draw length. He'll set up all your measurements on your bow, anything possible, basically. He'll put your exact bow in there so they know, the feet per second that it's projected at by the company. And it'll actually, you put in how long you want to cut your arrows to, and then what tip you want in your arrows. And it'll actually give you a bunch of options, different companies and everything, of what arrow you're interested in. That's definitely the very easy way to go. Other than that, I'd like to say, there's definitely carbon arrows and aluminum arrows. A lot of the old timers shoot aluminum arrows. I've shot aluminum arrows hunting my first couple years. Problem with aluminum arrows is you bend them like this, they stay like this. They don't flex back out straight, where a carbon arrow is more durable in that aspect. And also, if you shoot the side of a carbon arrow, it doesn't dent or chip, where aluminums will definitely dent. Carbon arrows, when I say they don't do it often. That's the other thing. As you can see, this is my brother's arrow. He was shooting this past week, and you can see how he actually had a chip in it. He got lucky and it didn't break completely off or hurt him, but it was hidden underneath the wrap and he couldn't tell. But when you shoot the side of your arrow or you hear a loud twing, you got to make sure that you rub your hand up and down and make sure that there's no chips in it, no dents or anything like that, because it'll be a very, very weak spot on your arrow. And if you flex it like this with your hands, it'll snap if it does have an actual creasing it or anything like that. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, you want to make sure, especially with broadheads, you're not shaving the side of your carbon off. That's about all I got for you guys this week, but just make sure when you're going to pick your arrows out, most people just, you know, those arrows look cool, you know, this or that. It don't matter. You got to figure out what will shoot the best for your bull, and then you can make them look cool if that's what you're looking for. So yeah, again, stop into the shop if you need any help on picking out arrows, or if you got any questions, give us an email and we can help you out too. No big deal. We'll talk about it next week on the show. Again, don't forget my newest sponsor, Barbershop, 2400 Church Street, Stevens Point. Stop on in if you have any vacuum questions or you need something fixed. Norm will be more than happy to help you. And as always, see you guys next week.